I think the first thing I need to explain is I'm billed from someone from South Africa, but I'm also someone from England, from London. And I'm someone from England and London because of the fine traditions of the British working class, being able to provide a haven for myself and my family when we had to flee South Africa in the dark days of the 60s. I'm someone that comes to you today and says that I am from London and the UK wider because I was someone who was very much motivated and inspired by what I saw around me. And in 1976, when I saw hundreds of students being mowed down by the South African security forces, I decided enough was enough. I couldn't go home, but I could do something in this country. And what did I look to? I looked to a working class that was prepared to march in its thousands to defend a group of Asian women in their saris on the Union lines of Dunwich. I looked to an organisation that was prepared to fight, to take the fight against the fascists who are rapidly becoming the third party in the UK, that were attacking black immigrant communities. That's what gave me the inspiration to carry on to fight for the 35 years since then. And you know what? Yesterday I saw the Daily Express. 1.2 million young people unemployed, 12,000 migrants a month taking their jobs. The Daily Express has taken the position of the National Front. That's what's at stake in the UK today. But I'm from South Africa and I've been there for the last 21 years. And we open our meetings with the slogan which many of you will know. It's Amandla and you say Awetu. Are you ready? Amandla! Come on, you can do better than that. Amandla! Amandla! But comrades, that means power to the people. The power didn't go to the people. We've had 30 years of austerity in Africa. We were debt-ridden and the IMF came in and they chopped and they cut and they wrecked our societies. What semblance of protection there was taken away. What sense of strength those economies had to weather the bad times was taken away. South Africa was a bit of a different kettle of fish. We had a huge movement that brought that government to its knees. But we had to fight. Really, we've had, since 1994, 10 years, 11 years of austerity. And a year or two of public spending to try and create and develop the economy, which was brought to a swift end by the economic crisis. But what did that mean? That meant, in South Africa, 450,000 people lost their lives because our government couldn't provide the antiretroviral drugs to save our people from an epidemic that ravaged our country that's left 6 million people HIV positive. But we fought, we built a movement, we had 50,000 activists fighting year in, year out. The trade union movement came to the aid of the Treatment Action Campaign and we won the right to treatment. We are saving lives now. During that time, 400,000 people lost their lives. During that time, 3 million people were connected to the electricity grid. 1.5 million people have since been cut off. Many of those people newly connected. We've had 2 million people receive water. We've had 500,000 of those people cut off. But in South Africa we're organised and we don't take things lying down. And we're reconnecting ourselves. And we're fighting electricity hikes. We're just building 2 of the biggest coal-fired power stations in the world. And over the next 4 years, we're going to see a 125% increase in electricity prices to pay for those stations. To pay for those stations so they can do what? So the people who use the less electricity in our country pay for the people who use the most. And that's industry. That's big industry. We're subsidising the cost of industry. We're subsidising foreign direct investment that come to our country for cheap electricity. The fight against electricity and the hundreds of thousands of people who refuse to pay and reconnect themselves are now saying we're not going to pay until our energy, our electricity is clean energy. Because you know also in South Africa, we're an emerging economy, like China and India and Brazil, we're a massive polluter. So we're not only a victim of climate, we're not only a victim of climate change, we're also a perpetrator. We're the 12th biggest polluter in the world. We have a massive carbon footprint per capita. And that gives us a situation where 30% of our rural districts are now faced with a situation where they are seeing a 25% reduction in their maize yields. That's their staple diet. That means they're not being able to produce enough food to feed their family. And the basic income grant, which we fought hard and fast for, the 500 rand a month, the £50 a month, that gives people on the edges of society some money, is now being spent to buy that staple food. And if you think that's bad, you've got to look at what's happening towards the north of us. The economy is burning. The country is burning. The lakes are shrinking. The fish are dwindling. The erratic rains are meaning massive crop failures, meaning food security is being replaced by food aid. The 1%, the 1 degree shift, the 1.5 degree shift which we're now facing in the hotter parts of our continent mean crop failures. For you, it's a nicer day. You're living in a cold climate, lovely, when it's sun shining in England, bring it on, give us more. But in Africa, it means life and death. The conservative estimates are now that at least 150,000 people a year are dying from climate change in Africa. We're seeing 12 million people up to their knees in water in Bangkok. Massive floods on the east coast of Africa. Drought is becoming the norm. So when we see innovative campaigns like the 1 million climate jobs campaign, we've actually highly inspired. Our own trade unions, 5 of our own national trade unions have taken up that campaign, and they're being supported by 35 organisations that are based in the townships of the country who are fighting against electricity cut-offs, who are fighting against the water cut-offs. Our campaign is going to be a fighting campaign, because what we're faced with is life and death. I fully accept that the major contradiction, the major crisis that 2008 has brought on is the crisis between labour and capital, and there will see massive battles. There will be a violent attempt to reorganise society. But as we speak, the second major crisis the world is facing is the climate crisis, and that climate crisis is, as we speak, violently reorganising society. And if we're failing, if you fail to have a generalised fight back against the cuts and the pensions and the Tory attack in Europe. Something that's buoyed us on in our attempts to launch a fight back against our own austerity. The prospects of building a fighting, active, mass climate change movement in the South, in the global South, I think will be diminished. We're in one world, we have one struggle, we have one fight, and it's a fight for our lives, comrades.